Alright, motherfuckers. A little bit of a late reaction to the Miami Dolphins beating the Detroit Lions 31-27. And I was there in the flesh to see that shit. And I'd like to talk about my stadium experience and how excruciating that was. I've never experienced anything like that. And I'd also like to analyze the game. Because I think I'll get to the most important thing second, but the second most important thing, which is a negative, the Miami Dolphins defense looked terrible yesterday. They looked terrible. That there's so many times that frustrate me when the other team is at second or third and long, and there's just someone wide open 10 yards down the field. Look, that happens. It's the NFL. Players get schemed open all the time. But it happened way too often in that first half for the Miami Dolphins. Way too often. I'm glad they fixed it, but against these good teams, you can't be giving up 27 points and a half. Because against the Bills, that might be 50 points. And um, Tua looked like he might have scored 50 today if he had to, but of course, it wasn't necessary because the defense did come alive in the second half. Xavier Howard laid a nice hit. He hasn't been getting picks, though, so I'm worried about that secondary. I'm worried about the linebackers, worried about the D-line, seeing rumors that they're looking to trade for a guy like Bradley Chubb. Go for it, man. You need it. They need something on defense. Um, they need something. Whether it's a corner, a linebacker, a lineman, they need something. Because all of those areas need help. Uh, Goff seemed almost every time he wanted to drop back and find someone he had all day. Zach Sealer had a sack or two. But other than that, man, the D line wasn't getting there. There are huge holes in the run game. Wide open, man. I mean, these would be first down, second down, third down, wide open receiver. And look, it's the Lions. It can't happen. This can't happen against any team. I know the Lions did score 45 on the Eagles earlier in the season, so they have a competent offense, but just you want to see more out of Miami. But I guess the positive thing is the most important thing with this season is finding out if Tua Tagovailoa is going to be your quarterback in the future. And I feel like yesterday, that's a big movement towards the yes answer for me. He seems, every time he's on the field, it seems like this team's better. The offense was rolling. He did have a couple underthrows on plays to Tyreek, but man, what I really like from Tua this year that was a big gripe on him the last couple years is he'll throw it in there when there's a defender close by. He wasn't doing that the past couple years, and everyone was talking about it. He doesn't throw the deep ball. He doesn't take chances. Um, what did Fitz say? Open in the NFL isn't the same as open in college. Man, he made some big plays. That one third down to Tyreek, they said that one was underthrown, but to me it looked like he was just chucking it. Um, and Tyreek had, 188? Almost another 190 game. He's on pace for 2,000 yards in the season. God damn, man. This is the most exciting Dolphins offense I've ever been alive to see. Now, what they need to do during the second half of the season is put that shit together. You know? They're 5-3 right now. If you have the same season again, you end up 10-6. Which, you know, could or could not be good enough. So I think they'll need to win now there's an extra game, so 11-6 we'll say, or 10-7. So you definitely don't want to go 10-7. That's definitely not going to be good enough. 11-6 might be good enough, but what you want to see is Tua just staying with what he's doing now, not get injured, because the durability is a big question for Tua. But he slung that motherfucker yesterday, man. Waddle as well. Got to waddle out of the stadium yesterday with some other Dolphins fan who thought my jersey was a Pats jersey because it was a dark blue Dolphins jersey. Thought I was a Patriots fan waddling out of the stadium. It be your own man sometimes. It really do. But the Miami Dolphins did win the game, and I tell you what, I just want to get into the stadium experience, because fuck all that. We all seen Tua play well, and I think Tua Tagovailoa is the franchise quarterback. I've been thinking about it. I really do, man. He's a guy you could get behind. He puts seats in the asses. How many quarterbacks in this league could do what he did against the Ravens, or even do what he did yesterday? Not many. Not many. He's a surgical quarterback, and I like what I'm seeing out of Mr. Tua, especially that fucking run play he had on 3rd and long. That was a wonderful play. And so my experience with the stadium, because Ford Field is the worst stadium or arena I've ever been to in my life. And I had a great time. I'd like to say, firstly, I had a great time. All right, but only because the Dolphins won and they played a good football game. Everything else was wild. So I live about 6.5 hours away from Detroit, and look, I've been to a ton of hockey games. I've been to the Penguins, Sabres, Panthers, Rangers, and probably the Devils. I can't think of them all, but I've been to a lot of hockey rinks. I've been to the Dolphins Stadium, Jet Stadium, Bills Stadium, Bengals, and Steelers. So there might be another one in there I'm fucking forgetting. But long story short is I've been to a bunch of stadiums, and because I love watching sports live, it's just, to me, is always fun. I prefer hockey though, because it's chiller. I get too stressed watching the Dolphins, man. It was too stressful. I think the rest of the year I'm just going to watch it on TV. And that's because of this experience I'm going to talk about. So I went with my baby mama. Initially I was going to go alone, but I talked her into it. I talked her into driving out to Detroit with me. We left the night before, and usually I leave pretty late at night because you're driving on the highway, and I like when the roads are empty. It's like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and yeah, you're just kind of alone out there. Maybe I'm a psychopath, but anyway, I'm cutting through the night, and I'm about 2 hours away from Ford Field because I wing it completely. I don't get a hotel and pre-plan things. I fucking wing the shit. Alright, I get in my car, I set the destination, and I drive till I'm too tired to drive anymore, and then I stop, hopefully find a hotel. If not, I'll sleep in my car if I have to. I'm white trash, I don't give a fuck. Alright? The way I see it is you're just in this human form for a lifetime. Who gives a fuck? Alright? I'm gonna do whatever it takes to do the things I enjoy. So by that metric, I'm about 2 hours away, and I'm somewhere in fucking buttfuck Michigan, alright? And things get really foggy, and I'm on this, it's not the highway. It's like just this long night. I'm going on this middle of nowhere road for like 90 miles. Over 100 miles, probably. And it's just foggy. I can't fucking see anything. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm getting real tired. It's 3 in the morning. And, you know, those signs you usually see, the lodging signs, because you're looking for somewhere to stop, they cease to exist. I can't find any. And so I'm driving through this fog, and it gets all the way down to the point where I'm like a half hour away from the stadium. And I'm getting nervous. I'm starting to go, all right, I'm going to sleep in the car. I believe I was 45 minutes from the stadium when finally I'm back on a highway. And it's so foggy I can't see, and I seen a lodging sign. I go to turn into it, and it wasn't really an exit, so I got stuck on the side of the road as like 3 semi-trucks just fucking roar by me. I almost fucking killed myself and my baby mama. But luckily we made it out, and the very next exit We stayed at this fucking hotel. Um, I believe it was called Luca or Luna Pier, Michigan. And the guy was nice as hell, man. He answered the bell like 3, 4 in the morning. He comes out, um, and he gets me a room for like $70. And that's cheap for what it usually is when I'm looking for rooms late at night. Usually they hook me for like $200. So it was suspiciously cheap, but I'm so tired, I don't give a fuck. I get our stuff for the game tomorrow, walk in, and the first thing we see in that room is a fucking cockroach running across the floor. Oh my god, but what are you gonna do? You gonna get out of the car? Who's getting back? Would you rather sleep in the car? I don't know. I didn't go under the blanket or nothing. I just slept on that bed for the couple hours I needed it. Woke up in the morning, threw on my Dolphins gear, head to the stadium. And Detroit is bizarre, man. I'm from Buffalo. And Buffalo is a shitty place in its own right, but there's a charm to it. You know, you go through Detroit, anywhere I seen in Michigan, there wasn't any charm, man. The only charm was that the people are nice as fuck. Um, but I go in there, and we get to the stadium, and I parked pretty far from the stadium. So it was like Pittsburgh or Buffalo in the sense where you could park in the city, which I enjoy. I like having options as to parking because I like to park far from the stadium. That way, it's like you just walk to your car. By the time you get there, traffic's already moving along. You're not, because I don't like battling with people over positioning. Like, people are so stressed driving out of stadiums usually because they're upset their team lost, or they're so excited and drunk they're just angry as fuck in their fucking pickup trucks. Look, I don't have time for that shit. I mean, I'll do it if I have to, but I avoid it if I can. So, park about a 15-minute walk from the stadium, have a couple of beers, and smoke a little bit of Laffy Taffy. And fucking, we walk to the stadium, and this is where it gets crazy, man. So, I've never been late to any sporting event in my life. Because I always get there on time, I always get there early, and I like to get there like around the time the game's about to start, but usually I'm in there about 15 minutes early, which I don't mind just to be sure that I'm there on time. I get in there, all right, into the stadium, or like right where the gates are, and it's like clogged with people, thousands of people, and this fucking line isn't moving at the gate where you scan your tickets and you walk through. And the line that is moving, you have to be like a certain bank card holder to get in. I was thinking about just walking through it because I was getting so frustrated. And I don't get frustrated easily, but fuck, the line wasn't moving. And I first got in line at about 12:35. All right? That is plenty of time. Usually when you're in a line like that, like, it's a long line, or it can be a long line, but usually there's so many gates that it's not that bad. You're out of there in like 10 minutes. It's 12:35, line's not moving. It's 12:45, people are fucking getting impatient. 12:50 rolls by, and that's the point. Like, I gotta piss. I just drank like 4 beers. I gotta pee, and the game's about to start. So, I have no choice but to just like grab my girlfriend's hand and just kind of force my way through as much as I can. By the time we got in, it was probably like 1:05 ish. So this is it. I was late the first time in my life I've been late for a game, for a Dolphins game especially. But I missed nothing but the Lions going down and scoring on that first drive as I took a piss and then got in my seat. Which I have pictures, but they're not really pictures that show where I'm sitting well. I'm kind of in the corner of the end zone, but in the 100 section, but all the way on the back wall of the 100 section. So the seats were okay. I would never sit there again. I've never had to sit down and stand up so much in a game in my life. People are coming through constantly. Um, it was a pack too. It was crazy. I was surprised there were so many people there, or for a Lions game, but they were celebrating like Barry Sanders or something. So that might have something to do with it. And I was sitting next to these dudes. That were Lions fans, and we talked the whole game. It was really cool. I rarely have those moments because I'm shy. I don't talk to strangers much, but if I feel like you got some good vibes to you, I'll talk to you. And the dude I was sitting next to, he was this maybe about 5'8" black dude, and his friend. I didn't talk to his friend at all. He just kind of kept to himself, and but he was cool as hell. And I had to turn off my car. And we talked about the game the whole way through. My girl doesn't really give a fuck. She plays on her phone, watches every couple plays, takes a couple of pictures for Snapchat or whatever. You know, that fucking women stuff. But other than that, man, I mean, the seats were okay. The stadium's nothing like I've ever seen before. You know, so when you get in there, you instantly can see the field. So you know how usually at an arena, and I've never been to an indoor football stadium, but usually at an arena, you go in, you kind of have to walk to the ice or whatever it is. And in this case, once you get through the gates, you can instantly, like, the field's right there. So that was a little crazy, and it's also very dim in there. It's very dim, and when you look up, there's like from my vantage point, the sidewall had like the club seats, and they all had chandeliers in them. They're really dim. I don't know. It gave me like a dinner at like an old person's house vibes, to be honest. Um, yeah, I don't think I'll ever go there again. Um, it was worth it. It was a great experience. I had a blast because the Dolphins won, but I wouldn't go there again. Just unless I go through Canada because it shortens the drive a little bit. But other than that's my ramble for the game, man. That is my ramble for the fucking game. I don't know if it made any sense. I'm tired as fuck, running off like no sleep. Um, So I've incoherently rambled for about 18 minutes, and I feel like that's too long for anyone to sit there and listen to me. So that's all I got to say about the game. I'll be back potentially later in the week if the Dolphins make a trade. We'll see what happens. Go Dolphins, and yeah.